Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Matt Daddy Projects channel. Welcome back. Another project, as we do on this channel, something nice and quick, but something that I think is going to add a lot of impact to this room. Now, I'll tell you a little story. Many years ago, I went to a house party and it was in a penthouse suite with lots of fancy gadgets. So one of the cool things about this party is as you were walking around, there were speakers built into the ceiling and there were different types of music playing in different zones of the property. So as you walked around, you could walk into one space and there was music, and then you could go through to another space. It'd be a different genre, for example. And it was just really cool. I don't know if you've ever looked at ceiling speakers, but they're not cheap. They're quite an expensive gadget, and they usually need to be professionally fitted by an electrician as well. So I've never really considered progressing it, even though I've seen it in use and I do think it's very cool. I love the thought of having speakers in the ceiling, but never really been able to work out how I'm going to be able to really justify the huge cost. Now, many of you will already have these, which are Amazon speakers. I won't use their real starting name because it might set yours off if you have one in the room and you're watching this without headphones. However, these are the newest rendition. I think they're called 5th Gen Pops. Might be 6th Gen now, I'm not sure. And these normally retail at about £45 per speaker. Now, I've just picked up a couple of these actually in the Amazon Spring sale, and these were £29 each. In the Black Friday sale, they go down to about £22. So keep an eye out, get one when they're on offer. There's no point spending double for no reason. However, the reason I want to mention these and coming back to this story from my past is that you can get these in two colors. One of them is going to be going into our new living space, which you'll see shortly. That's going to be beige, magnolia, that kind of color scheme. So the light gray is going to look very nice. This black one obviously is better suited for this room being a black office. So I'm going to put this in my ceiling. I'm not the only person who's done this on YouTube. This isn't a pioneering idea, but it is something that a few people have done, and I thought it was a really cool concept. So I'm going to do it as well. So we need a way of holding this up into the ceiling. Now, if you have a 3D printer, you can download a file to print one of these. This is a surround, very simple design, but this is a surround that you put your speaker into, and it will give it a nice surround when it's in the ceiling. All you need is to print one of these, or if you have a look at this link over here, you can buy them on eBay as well. They're about £9, something like that. This one was originally the white color, same as this speaker, but I've decided to use it in this room, so I've spray painted it black, literally just matte black spray paint. All you need is a 105mm hole saw. Find your center in the ceiling, pop that in, then you put your speaker in, you pop that in, push it up, and you've got a ceiling speaker. No electrician required. And knowing how good the sound quality is on these, I think it's going to be really cool. Now, the other cool thing about these speakers is using the Amazon app, you can connect multiple speakers together. So if you wanted to do this where you have several of these little pop speakers in a single space, you don't need to cable them. The old version used to have a couple of ports on the back, one for power and one like a jack plug. You don't have that anymore, just the power on these new ones. But yeah, you can, using the app, tell the sound, Spotify or YouTube music playlist to play through multiple speakers, and you dictate which ones, and that would allow you to play across a wider space. But for this small 3x3 meter office, one speaker is going to be fine. They do go quite loud. We never tend to have it louder than level 5. And I am really excited to see how this comes out. The other cool thing is that the standard cable on one of these is 2 meters. That's 2 meters from the speaker to your wall socket. Now, you can buy third-party extension leads. They are £9, might be £10, in fact, and they are 3 meters long. Now, quick math, that's 5 meters. So that means you can quite easily get to a ceiling, go out a little bit, as I will be doing, to find a nice space that avoids any rafters and still secure yourself a plug socket at the bottom as well. So I'm going to be doing that. And the other great thing about having black slat wall is there's plenty of places to hide the cable as it runs down the wall. So we don't need to trunk this in, given that the cable's going to be black. Shouldn't be able to see it once it's here. Might even be able to tuck it just behind the slat wall as well. We'll see how we go. So nice quick project for today, and really excited for this one because it's just going to save a little bit of desk space, but it's also just going to look really cool. And I think the sound quality is going to be a little bit better as well, with the sound coming down instead of being lower and playing upwards. So see how we get on. Okay, so we have a plug socket down here. Ignore the mess. That's a future project, which you're going to see soon. Plug socket's down here. I'm going to run the cable in between these two pieces of slat wall because there's a little bit of a gap. And I'm going to put it in the middle of one of my Regal ceiling tiles. I think this one would be perfect. So bang in the middle of there. We'll have to measure that out to find the exact center so it looks nice. These are only made out of plastic, so very, very simple to cut through. The other thing is you have to bear in mind for rafters, you don't want to be cutting through rafters above. I have checked with this little hole that I left in here intentionally. When you put a tape measure through there, it's only 4 inches before you hit a stud. So the stud's actually about there. They're normally on 60 centimetre centres, so 600 mil, which means the next one will probably be somewhere over here. So there's plenty of space. So I'm going to pop that in there. I'm confident that I'm not going to be hitting a rafter, and then I'll be able to feed the cables over and just see if I can get my arm up and push it through. But then it's going to run down there and then into the plug socket. It sounds very straightforward. I'm sure it's going to be fine. What's the worst that could happen? We've got our 105 mil hole cutting bit. Right, super important that we wear our PPE. I have a friend who lost an eye when plasterboard fell in his eye. So for that reason, I always wear my goggles now, especially when I'm doing stuff above my head. So here we go. This is going to be fun. Plastics come off. That's a good start. Thank you. Cool. So the hole is cut and very happy that it's perfectly center. When I stick my phone up and have a look at access for cables and things, this is the electric that leads to this light by the look of it. But yeah, I'm trying to work out how to get the cable through. This, unfortunately, there is a joist noggin here, so I can't get to that. So what I think I'm going to have to do is come across, pop a little hole here, run it down there behind perhaps the cove-in, and then run it along. That's probably going to work the best. So let's have a look at that. Progress report. What I've done is just put a little bit of a cut in the cove-in here, which I'm going to be able to fill her in and kind of cover up. The cable's going to go in there and it'll run across the top and then down the middle strip where it'll be best hidden. Cable hanging out of here. Just had to double check that I had put the right end through. So that's the male end that comes through. Female is dangling somewhere down here, and that will go into the other one that's now plugged in and wired somewhere down there. So I'm going to connect those up, work out how much cable is left and kind of hide that up there. And then I've got to think of a way of kind of sticking this. I think I'm going to try maybe super glue, might try some polyurethane just because it'll expand and make it sure it's a tight fit. So yeah, let's try that. Okay, so the cable is in. The wire is hidden. You can hardly see it, just a little bit at the top. I've just got to do a little bit better hiding that. And everything is hidden, and then it goes down, and it's all really well hidden with the slat wall. So again, really happy with that. I think I've got a bit of dust on there I've got to clean as well. Well spotted, Matt. But other than that, really cool. I've just got it hanging at the moment, so I'm about ready to install this in the top using the 3D printed bracket that I talked about earlier. Now this has just been rattle canned black. I might actually give it another spray before I install it, but I've checked and it's a very tight, snug fit. So just to make sure that it doesn't slip, I'm going to put some polyurethane glue on these nibs here before I push it in, and then I'll probably find something just to prop it and hold it in place whilst the glue goes off. But I think this is going to be so cool. I'm really excited to get sound out of the ceiling. It's going to be great. And to say that this whole project with brackets and everything has cost me 40 quid to ceiling mount it, that's really cool. So so far really pleased. So just a little bit of glue on the outside here. Just going to put a little bead on there. Do that all the way around. Now this stuff expands, so it'll fill in any gaps as well as being quite good. The glue, as an adhesive, it's very strong, but it also expands a little bit as well. So that should be ideal. Let's get the speaker in and lift that up. So excuse the fact I'm going to have to do this with one hand, but basically that's going to go on there. And then we're just going to push that up and in situ, and we're good. Okay, that's now in situ. I'm very pleased. Just giving it a quick dust, get rid of any bits of plaster. But yeah, I think that looks lovely. So now it's the moment of truth. Shall we switch it on? Dun, 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 dun. Is it gonna work? Does it light up? Please light up. Right on the edge, it lights up. I'm going to turn that actually, just so it's visible over this side. I think this corner will be better. I can just lift it, twist it, and then drop it back down. But this is going to be so cool. Brilliant. So in what is inevitably the most unflattering angle of my YouTube career so far, I must say that this has turned out beautifully. Very pleased. I worked out, I think it's cost about 40 quid in total to be able to complete this project. Very cheap, much cheaper than if I would have gone and bought proper ceiling mounted speakers, which would have, of course, needed amplifiers and all of these extra things wiring, and then needed places to store those huge contraptions as well, of course. But now we've got a smart speaker in the ceiling. Sound quality wise, unfortunately, I can't play anything through it because most of the music that's on Apple Music and Spotify and stuff is copyrighted, and the people at YouTube will tell me off. So yeah, you'll just have to take my word for it. It works very well. Very pleased, and I think it looks beautiful. So on to the next project, I think. But if you want to do this, follow the link below. I'm just going to put a little link to where you can buy the surround to be able to put one of these pop speakers in your ceiling. And yeah, on to the next one, guys. Bye.